Yo, Tom Fiddzy here with my review of Book of Boba Fett episode 4, halfway through the series. I really like this episode. Once again, I don't think it was the best of the series. Very much a midway episode, setting up the next half of the series. We're also finishing off some of the stuff from the first half of the series. Going into this episode from last week, following the stuff with the... So I got something in my eye just as I press record. Following on from the biker gang stuff, the mod gang who reappeared in this episode, we kind of see why Boba Fett probably recognised them and wanted to recruit them a little bit because they helped him out. We got some stuff with Fennec in this. But going back to last week's episode, it was the first time where I've really noticed that there's quite a lot of negativity online for this show. I mean, it is Star Wars, so it's expected, you know. Ever since the prequels, there has been a big division in Star Wars fans, which got even more split with the sequel trilogy. And I think also many casual fans as well, to be honest, with the sequel trilogy. But yeah, it's popping up again here in Book of Boba Fett, and a lot of the stuff I kind of think is a little bit unjustified. I definitely do feel like quite a few channels and websites have just jumped on it and just posting it because it gets clicks, you know. Because talking about that stuff is a little bit more appealing. You know, just jumping on the bandwagon to get the likes and the views. I see a lot of the criticism being about Boba Fett's character. Personally, I don't think it's that bad. I'm really enjoying Boba Fett's character in this. The journey that it's on, it's more characterization than he's ever had, you know. Sure, in like Legends, he was this like hardcore gunslinger, silent guy in a helmet, which is awesome and cool and stuff, you know. Love characters like Terminator and Predator and stuff. But ultimately, is it really that interesting to carry a show? No. And a lot of that stuff came out before the Clone Wars, before we had young Boba Fett. I definitely feel like we're seeing a lot more of the essence of what young Boba Fett was in his character, in the adult Boba Fett that we're getting here in Book of Boba. I feel like it's connecting the two a little bit more. It's connecting to a lot of the new mythos that we're getting with the Mandalorian and the Mandalorian culture and stuff, connecting more to the new canon. A lot of that stuff that come from like the Tusken Raiders, you know, the Foundlings and everything. I really like it. Like I say, I'm really liking his character. I'm really liking his growth. A lot of people are saying he's a yes man. I don't think he's a yes man at all. He's a leader who, you know, is going from a yes man. He was literally a yes man. Darth Vader, no disintegrations. And what, like Boba Fett's first line was like, yes, understood, or whatever it was, you know. He was a yes man. He did what other people were telling him, and now he is the one giving the orders. You know, some people were saying in that car chase, well, why didn't Boba Fett just like use his jetpack and do it all? Because, you know, he's the leader. He's got to make other people do the work for him. That's what it was all about. He was getting his underlings, these new mod gang, to do the work for him. Then he comes in at the end, you know. He can't constantly do everything himself, or he's not a leader. He's just back to being a bounty hunter again. And I'm enjoying his transition out of it, you know. He's still in the early stages where he is kind of doing a lot of stuff himself. Almost like a bounty hunter. People come to him with problems, he fixes it and sorts it out. But now he's building his army, he's building his resources. And we got some really interesting stuff and motivation as to why in this episode, and I like it. I think you just got to accept that canon Boba Fett, Legends Boba Fett is gone. And maybe for the better sometimes. You know, when you're playing with your toys and you're playing with your figurines, he can still be that badass Boba Fett. In the time period of the original trilogy, he was still that, but not anymore. And I think it's for the better because it adds real characterization, and he can still have those badass moments, like we saw him beating up the Nikto gang in the bar. Perfect classic badass Boba Fett moment. He didn't even have his armor on there. We got to see the crazy eyes. I really like that. Yeah, and for people being like, he's not as cool as he used to be in the original trilogy. What did he do in the original trilogy? You know, let me know down in the comments. What did he do that was cool? You know, he sat in Slave One and he watched Han Solo fly the Millennium Falcon in a Bespin direction, and then he got hit by a stick and his jetpack went off and he fell into a hole. What else did he do? Okay, nothing. So I'm just good that we're actually, because he's a character that when they announced it, I wasn't really excited by it, because I was just like, Boba Fett, what a boring kind of character. Like, yeah, cool, but a whole show about him, just like, we just had the show about a Mandalorian who doesn't like take his helmet off and doesn't speak much, and they did it really cool. I don't want another one of that. And no, what they've done is they've really differentiated him from the Mandalorian, really made him different, really made him an intriguing character and a character that I want to know more on. So intrigued by the flashback stuff. Anyway, so let's talk about this episode where we get more of his character and motivations, and that's what the real thing of this episode was. Started off straight away in flashback. We see the flares from the series 1 episode of The Mandalorian where he went to the desert and we saw Fennec Shan for the first time. And I only watched that like yesterday, I think it was, just to catch up. And so the second I saw those flares, I was like, oh yeah, wow, we're there, we're at that point, instantly recognizable. And we find out how he saved Fennec and why Fennec is kind of working with him. They're both old bounty hunter, assassin, people for hire. They're just tired of it. You know, Boba Fett says, we work for people who are idiots and we can do a better job than them, but we're constantly getting treated badly. You know, it's time for us, you know, we're smarter. It's time for us to do it right, you know. These people are only going for their own self-interest and stuff. They're not helping anyone. And he also says in here that, you know, he's tired of working alone. He wants to be part of a tribe. The Tuskens gave him that, and his actions destroyed him. So he wants to try again and do it better, and actually this time succeed in helping people. And the clan stuff connects to his like Mandalorian heritage, you know, that he missed out on because his father got killed. Then he had to just take up this mantle that he's this legacy that was left for him for his father. Really cool, really interesting stuff. We see him get his ship back, sneak into Jabba's palace. We see a part of Jabba's palace that we've previously only seen in Star Wars Battlefront DLC. So that was really cool as well. We're getting to see the garage that we've heard so much about. And I loved it when they infiltrate it. We found out what happened to EV-99. He's become a chef, no longer torturing, or the kind of torturing, because torturing like the little animals that get cooked in the soup. But we find out why EV-99 isn't around, because Boba Fett pops up and knocks EV-99 out. Then we get some really cool things. We get some practical droids that were previously only animated. So we get the chef droid from Attack of the Clones that was briefly seen in the background when Anakin and I think Padme were on that stowing away to Naboo. We got the chef droid straight away. Class did like the knives, and I was like, oh my god, the prequel memers are gonna love it. Brand new General Grievous meme, multiple arms, all holding knives, whirling them around. It was fantastic. Big smile. I'm surprised Boba Fett didn't go, hello there. Boba Fett, swirling the blade. You know that meme's coming. In fact, I've already seen a few already on Twitter. I'm probably going to make it my thumbnail, because out of everything from the Book of Boba Fett, like it, hate it, that is the thing that is going to last. More General Kenobi meme content. And we also got a servant droid as well from the Clone Wars in live action. And it looked really, really cool as well. Practical effect model. They're really getting a lot of droids out in this series. It's fantastic. And it looked really cool. I think out of everything in the episode, Boba Fett chasing it was a bit kind of cartoony, a bit clumsy, and a bit pointless, really. You know, there was a whole threat of, is it going to trip the alarm? Is it going to trip the alarm? And then it pressed the button and it killed itself? That was dark for a droid. It was even like sobbing as it pressed the button. You know, that is basically suicide for a droid. Yeah, I kind of thought that was a little bit stupid. You know, the people that are like do complain about Boba Fett's character. He's a bit goofy. He's a bit funny. He's not cool anymore. Okay, I'll give you that one there. Him chasing around and threatening a little servant droid. Yeah, maybe that bit there. But it was generally it was cool to see that and just yeah all of the little droids and everything. And yeah, finally find out what happened to EV-99. Speaking of droids, actually, 8D8 again, very prevalent in this episode towards the end when they had the big meeting. But I'm not sure if this is a continuity error, something that got overlooked, or just something that happened off screen. But he's translating now. You know, he was there in the room when the Aquilish was speaking in like the first episode, and Boba Fett was like, "Did you understand what he was saying? We really need a translator droid." Couldn't 8D8 just translate there? Was he was he trying to be polite like he was in the last episode? Like, oh, sorry, I didn't want to say in case I offended you. I assumed you spoke Aquilish, you know. But here he's understanding it fine and translating. So yeah, not sure if that was an oversight. Maybe he just got an upgrade, you know, in the gap off screen. Would be nice to find out. I'm sure maybe there'll be a little tweet correcting that at some point. Like, oh yeah, 8D8 got upgraded to a protocol droid. Yeah, they upgraded the his smelting smelting droid operating system to the newest one. Jabba hadn't done it. It was really out of date. Yeah, one of the newest ones adds in compatibility for a translator app, so you can smelt across the universe. So yeah, I don't know, maybe continuity error, but I'm glad it is 8D8 and they didn't bring in a new droid, because really liking 8D8's character. So glad that they just took that background character from like Revenge of the Sith, one tiny little scene, and really turned him into a great character. Of course, voiced by Matt Berry as well. It's gonna be a great character. But yeah, I like that. One of my favorite characters in the show. Another character that really stood out in this episode as well. And forgive me, I forget her name, but the Twi'lek that is in charge of Sanctuary. Yeah, really cool. Like seeing her strength going up to Black Chrysanthemum, who's fighting a Trandoshan. The Trandoshans, I thought, really didn't put up too much of a fight. These legendary hunters who are famed for hunting Wookiees were just like thrown around really easily. I guess maybe these were more kind of politician Trandoshans than your typical hunter ones. Maybe they've lost some of their ways a little bit. You know, in the different times, as the woman who runs Sanctuary was saying, you know, these are different times. What we used to think gladiator combat was fun, but these are more civilized times. So maybe that reflecting as well on the Trandoshans. Yeah, I like that stuff. Boba Fett was watching with a bit of a smile. She was trying to resolve the situation with diplomacy, using strength of character, something that Boba Fett really values. So at first I was like, this person was heavily advertised when the series came out. The last 3 episodes I haven't really been feeling it, but here I can see, I think they are going to find some very good common ground, shared values. Yeah. So yeah, really stepped that character really stepped up, and then of course Black Chrysanthemum was here. The opening actually, you know, it's like skip intro, kind of spoilt that Black Chrysanthemum was going to come back, because it was a big section of that was Black Chrysanthemum, but he's back. He got hired by Boba Fett. Why Boba Fett didn't just hire him at the end of the last episode, not sure. But yeah, hired him. Black Chrysanthemum's now working for Boba Fett. You know, what I was speculating last time is we might see a shot that's very reminiscent of Return of the Jedi at the end of this series. Boba Fett is on the throne and Black Chrysanthemum is standing where Boba Fett was standing in Return of the Jedi. It looks like we might get that. And once again, Boba Fett's plan of like treating people with respect is paying off. His enemy, that was Black Chrysanthemum, he showed him respect. He was like, live, give you some advice, don't work for scuzz holes. And now Black Chrysanthemum is working for him. That means obviously he doesn't think that Black Chrysanthemum thinks that Boba Fett isn't a scuzz hole. And yeah, there's some respect in there. He'll probably won't just help Boba Fett for money, because Boba Fett saved his life for free, basically. So and plus there's like Wookiee life debts and everything in there. So cool stuff. They're going to war with the Pikes. They had the meeting with all of the other crime families. And they're clear, or they're obviously one of them is going to betray. Who is it? I think it's quite obviously the Clatoonium, because the one that was talking the most about it. Just the look on his face, definitely. If anyone's going to do some betraying, it's going to be that Clatoonian. And then it ended with Fennec saying we need to get some muscle. Where are we going to get some muscle? Cue one of the best theme tunes on TV, the Mandalorian theme tune, kicks in. And you're like, oh yeah, here we go, the crossover. Is it gonna happen? Is it gonna be Mandalorian Din Djarin? Is he gonna turn up in this series? They've worked together before. I'm sure he would very easily lend Boba Fett a hand. Or could it be somebody else from the Mandalorian turning up? Could Grief Karga turn up and the Bounty Hunter Guild? Or who else could turn up? Could Cod Vamp turn up, maybe? I'm leaning more to Mandalorian. I think what would be really cool is if we get a scene very similar to Empire Strikes Back. Bounty Hunters. We don't need their scum, but it's Boba Fett talking to them all. And maybe we can get Zakus and Forloom in there, give them more to do. Maybe we could get Valance from the comics turn up as well. Maybe we could get another IG model. Or that one from the Clone Wars series. What was it called? Hellsinger? I think it was meant to be in the game. In one of the Star Wars cancelled games. That in live action. Just a load of bounty hunters. Embo in live action. Bosk would be absolutely awesome. Imagine, because they set up how much Black Chrysanthemum hates Trandoshans. Imagine if in the series, in the war, Bosk and Black Chrysanthemum teaming up and working together, finding common ground. That would be really cool. We could actually have like a War of the Bounty Hunters in the comics, in live action. The bounty hunters rising up and proving that they are smarter than their employers. Give me Dengar! Will it be played by Simon Pegg? Don't know, but I'm sure he'll be up for doing it. Maybe he could be on his way to, like, there's that character in like that terrible movie that I never want to watch again, the Rise of Skywalker. There's that character in the background that was like alluded to being, is it Dengar? It looks completely different, maybe like halfway between the two. The possibilities are really cool now. Boba Fett riding a Rancor, 2 Gamorrean guards, the Vespers, and then Black Chrysanthemum, and a whole lineup of bounty hunters that we recommend, that we recognize, including Bosk. Maybe some from the Clone Wars, maybe some more from the comics, maybe the Mandalorian in there as well, with the Rancor riding into Tatooine to go to war with the Pikes. At first as well, I really briefly point out, because in that flashback that we got at the beginning, we saw the Pike again. When I was watching that, I was like, you know what, I'm warming to the new Pike design, the live action one. I didn't really like it because I think they kind of look quite snake-like in the Clone Wars. You kind of had like I always kind of saw the back of their heads as like kind of a Cobra-esque thing. But here they look a lot more fish-like. And it kind of works for Tatooine, I think. Like these off-worlders, these outsiders, very opposite to the desert landscape. A planet that was once water, and these fish people are coming in and taking it over. So yeah, it does kind of work. Overall, this episode, it wasn't the greatest episode. The flashbacks have, I think, officially ended because he's fully healed now. Very briefly, he went back to the Sarlacc pit. When he got his ship back, he went back to the Sarlacc pit. We got a really cool kind of canon-ish retcon. At first, we were looking into the mouth of the Sarlacc, and there was no beak. And I was like, is that just they made a mistake? But the beak can go all the way in. So it's not always there. It's not always just flapping around there looking a bit stupid. No, the beak can go all the way in to the mouth and pop up kind of like a xenomorph or goblin shark. Google that. It can pop out if it wants to. So you can have a Sarlacc without the beak in it, or you can have the Sarlacc with the beak showing. Both are now actually canon, because if you're not seeing the beak, it's because it's inside it. Nice, cool little detail. I really like that. gives the Sarlacc a much better design, honours the original as well as the special edition. And Boba Fett goes back down there into the acid, and that explains why he has to keep being in that bathtub, but he's all fully healed. Overall, alright episode. Building up a lot of cool hype. Ending off the kind of the past stuff with the flashbacks, and now setting up into what could potentially be a fantastic, high, action-packed, exciting last few episodes of the show. I'm enjoying it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Your likes, your dislikes, and what characters do you want to turn up to join Boba Fett's army? Can be from anything, even from legends. Let me know down in the comments below. Alright, bye-bye. And I hope that Bantha finds some other Banthas and makes some Bantha babies.